Welcome to the I Ching Cafe. My name is Belinda Doveston, and it is great to have you for our weekly I Ching overview for the week commencing the 13th of September 2021. How was last week? We had a locked hexagram, which was all about enthusiasm, building up the battery, storing up our capacity to act spontaneously when the time comes, and really mobilizing our ability to do that and to build up the reserves of strength and enthusiasm that we need. So, what happened last week to get you thinking about how you could do this differently in your life? So, if you have not yet done so, of course, the monthly overview for September is out. So, go and check in on Hexagram 11 Peace and Darkening of the Light and some of the opportunities we have to take on the challenge, to push forward, and to focus on our future. So follow the links to get to the monthly episode. So for this week, what are we being asked to pay attention to? Well, our first hexagram for this week is hexagram 53, Development. This hexagram is also known as the marriage hexagram because this hexagram is all about how we build something over time by continuously putting effort in growing and developing. And the idea of a marriage is that, as you grow as a couple, you grow and develop, hopefully together in the same direction over a long period of time. We keep on having to put the work in. We keep on having to grow and expand in order for us to expand what we can do as a couple. So this idea this week, what you're being asked to pay attention to, are the long-term things that we are working towards, the development, the gradual progress that we're being asked to make. This hexagram is not a hexagram where we leap and we accelerate and we jump and we make massive big steps and strides forward. It's not that kind of flow of change this week. Our attention is being drawn back to the things that we are developing over time, that we are gradually advancing because we show up every day. We participate in our relationships every day. We participate in our businesses and in the people around us and the projects that are important and in growing businesses and in growing relationships because we arrive every day and we put in the effort, and the effort accumulates over time to give us really meaningful experiences. So, development is a beautiful hexagram. It is something we're being focused on. And think about for you, what are the longer term things that are on your dashboard or in your focus this week and your attention's being drawn to them. I've often said that with these weekly hexagrams, it's not like an event stops and starts in 1 week tied to that hexagram. It's almost like the hexagram tunes us into a particular facet that we need to think differently or need to work on, or we need just to zoom in on. And this week, it's that development. What is the gradual progress we are making? And are we trying to sprint and do too much in short bursts as opposed to just pitching up every day? Marriages require us to show up every day. We can't take 3 months off and not participate. Every day we wake up and we participate in the relationships around us. Now, there are 2 changing lines for this week. One is challenging, one is magnificent. So you choose which one you want to work with this week. And they are in the positions 3 and 6. So our first one in position 3, as we start off the week, where our attention is being drawn to a particular aspect of development, is this idea of the wild goose going from the sea up to the mountaintops. So this hexagram, 53 development, talks about this wild goose. When we see the changing lines, each changing line, the goose is getting closer to the summit of the mountain, to the sacred mountain. And in this particular changing line, we're now at a threshold. We're crossing from the bottom trigram to the top. We're in line 3 and we're at the point of transition. We haven't crossed the chasm in the center of the hexagram yet. And so it is a little bit of a tricky situation. And this line says the wild goose is heading towards the plateau. In other words, it's in a place that's not in its natural flow. It's pushed too hard and it's in a place that is not in its best interests. There's a barrenness to this situation. And it has come about because instead of following the natural order of events, instead of pulling on this rope and climbing up the mountain, putting one hand in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, as we ascend, as we reach towards the summit. We are trying to push too hard. We're trying to force things. We're trying to tackle issues and engage in conflict. And all those things are contraindicated this week. So if you find yourself in conflict and in difficulties or stuck or out on a limb on the plateau with no resources, tired, exhausted, whatever it might be, the wild goose has pushed too hard to be in a place that's not in tune with it. And so we can preempt that. I mean, this is the wonderful thing about working with these flows of change. We can wait until the end of the week and then go and listen to the hexagram and say, oh yes, that's what it was about, or not. If it's not evidential for you, that's fine too. What we can do is we can preempt it and say, okay, this wild goose has the chance of overdoing it, of being too aggressive in trying to push too hard and not just allow the natural things to flow. And so maybe what we can do is we can just have our feelers tuned into where we are trying to advance, or we are trying to tackle or go too hard into things that are not the natural place they should be right then. Okay, some of us like pushing, and some of us like not pushing at all. And it's about finding the right time to push and the right time not to push. That is what this whole process of the flow of change is all about. And there's something here for us where we are trying to move too fast and we're trying to maybe jump ahead and skip some steps because we feel like, oh, well, we understand it, we know it, we can jump ahead, we can accelerate this, we can, not do step 5, 6, and 7 because we know that stuff. And what happens is we get ourselves into trouble. We get to a place where we are barren. The mother is pregnant but does not give birth. That's one of the interpretations of this line. So I have warned you, allow the natural course of events to unfold on a particular issue that's a long-term development issue. Where are you frustrated that things are taking too long, the way we perceive time to be? And where do we need to get back to letting things unfold as they need to? Okay, so how do we know when it's time to push and it's time not to push? Well, that's what the I Ching is trying to help us with. Now, our next changing line in the 6th position, thank heavens the wild goose has found the summit, okay? And this talks about the culmination, the beautification, the completion of a wonderful process of development. And what that does is because the wild goose hits the sacred mountains, the top of the peak, the feathers of the wild goose become sacred symbols that flutter down upon humanity and become a symbol for us to see how we could be the wild goose too and reach for the summit. Okay, a very long story. You can go read up all about the wild goose. But really that's what this line is talking about that there's some real significant culmination and completion point. Something we've been working on, that we've been developing, that we've been thinking about, that we've been planning. Perhaps it's in your family or a holiday or a personal project or your crafts or in a work situation or as a leader. There's something that you have been working towards that you have culminated, that you have a chance to culminate and complete. And there's something important about this week in bringing your attention to that. And in doing so, what you do is you create sacred feathers that flutter down on others. Your work and your completion and your effort to develop and to complete things become a symbol to others of what's possible, become a symbol of what path others could walk, of the development others could undertake. And there's something extremely significant about that. It's a beautiful changing line of completion and of the sacredness of that completion, of the opportunity of the work that you are doing personally, in your business, with your team, to be a light and a beacon and a symbol of growth and potential for gradual progress to others. Isn't that wonderful? All right, our second hexagram for this week, which comes to bring us another layer, okay, of focus for the week. We have the full development 53 starting the week, and as we round out, we start morphing and transforming fully into hexagram 8 holding together, or grouping as it's also known. This hexagram we've had quite recently where it really challenged us to rethink around who we grouped with. So imagine this rope we've been using to pull ourselves up the mountain. We've been using it as a way of taking a step by step to gradually progress and advance up this mountain to the summit where the wild goose is. And in that journey, there are people that are in that climbing expedition with us. And this week, there's a process here of rethinking, who are we grouped with? Who is on this expedition with us? Who are we missing? And do I have the leadership capabilities to be a part of this, to lead this, to be, guiding everyone up to the summit? So, a very interesting process around rethinking groupings, rethinking the ropes that tether us. Are they strangling us, or are they empowering us by collective strength to get somewhere meaningful together? Think carefully about your alliances, your relationships, your strategic partnerships in a business. Think about, are they working? Are they going to get you to the summit of your mountain? The progress, the culmination that the wild goose in you is trying to get us to. Right, so that is our week. Very interesting. There's development, there's grouping, there is unity and strength, there is synergy because we are working by holding together with others. We are leveraging each other to get to somewhere meaningful together. So for you, think about, what are those groups that hold you, whether that's community groups or whether that's personal groups or business groups or alliances. Are they working, and what are you missing? So please do subscribe, like, and share. It'd be great to share this message with others. If there's someone that you really feel could get value out of working with this week, perhaps pass it on via WhatsApp. And I look forward to seeing you on the socials and seeing you soon. Thank you so much.